All right. Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I am good, man. You got to start that over. That I came too fast for you. You didn't let us know where we are, what we watching.
You guys, this we are with Kingdom Global Media, living your truth, the infamous Archbishop Owens, and my name is Chantel Long, and we are here to just talk about it. We have so much to talk about. We had a great time last week. We were talking about singleness versus marriage, me being in my single too, living my truth and happiness, and talking about the moments that we have. And then Archbishop was talking about him and his amazing prophetess Nadine Owens, and just living their truth. And I'm just so excited about what we have to talk about today.
All right, we are living our truth. You know what? I got a question for you from last week, and
Mhm.
because I know that our conversation today is going to be really, really heavy and serious, as though all of them are, but some of them are more lighter than others. And but so you ready for the question, Chantel?
I'm always nervous when you have questions for me because I never know which direction you're coming. But go ahead and give it to me.
All right. And all right, so here's the question. A I was watching I was watching a I was watching a video, and I know we talked about last week about shooting shots and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So would you date a man?
Oh my
Are
goodness.
you sitting down? You ready?
You're starting with this one.
I'm starting with this one because I know the rest of our conversation, as our audience is coming in, liking, sharing, and tagging.
Mhm.
Um, Now I want you to remember that you are saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Spirit. So let your words be seasoned and
Mhm.
think about what you say.
Mhm.
Um, would you date a man who has herpes? And now let me tell you why I was asking it, because I was watching a podcast that young ladies were talking about it. So
Mhm.
it was actually young women talking about it who were mad at men who would not date them, and it's a whole group of young ladies. So they're already laughing in the comments. So you already look flustered, and so I want you to think about it. Then I want you to answer it. And again,
Mhm.
Angela Tyson is already on. I want you to answer it to the best of your ability.
To the best of my ability, okay, would I date a man with that situation? So that means
Wait, what's the situation in our conversation?
he basically has the STD.
What's the STD? For
Herpes.
people who are just coming in.
Oh, for people that just coming in, would I date a man that have herpes? I don't know. I've never been in that situation. So I want to say no, but how can I judge someone on their past? Like I feel like that would be such a faulty foundation for me to judge someone. I know, Angela laughed and she put no, but how can I judge someone on their past? I would never want somebody to judge me on my past, because my past ain't perfect either, either. And so how can I judge someone based off of something that could have happened by accident, could have been their first and only, something that happened 20 years ago? Um, I don't know,
But if it's their first and only, then you're gonna become their second and only, then, because then 9 times out of 10 they probably gonna give you herpes.
right. But I mean, I don't need to be what is it? I'm abstinence anyway. So right now that shouldn't even, you know what I'm saying? It should be okay to be their
Well,
friend and
no,
talk to
if the
them.
conversation went if the conversation went, they don't shot, they shot, and second date they take you out to the
My cousin
restaurant.
said he gonna say no for me respectfully.
I like that, respectfully. I like they take you to the seafood restaurant. Let's set the stage, and they sit down with you, and they talking about, how you doing, and you guys are talking, and the second date, stomach butterflies, whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they be like, I got something to tell you, and you like, oh, what, and they be like, well, listen, I need to tell you this, and they be like, well, what you need to tell me? They be like, I have herpes. So it's not that you're being, of course, sexually active with the person, but it's just that that person is just telling you where they are.
I would still be their friend. I would still because let
Wait a
me tell you,
minute,
I
did
know.
you just go all the way down the friend zone now?
No, I didn't friend zone, but let me tell you, I know someone personally from experience that ended up dating someone that told that to her, but it became her husband, and they're still together 20, 40, 20, not 40, but 20, 30 years later, they're still married. So great husband, she was a great woman, beautiful woman. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, like I said, I from personal experience, not personal from me, but personal from knowing someone that was her husband, and they have a great relationship. They still end up having kids later on. So, I just wouldn't want anybody to judge me for my one mistake. Um, to say I wouldn't even further get to know you or date you to figure out who you are as a person, because my one incident could have been the same thing. I mean, it wasn't, my
Mm-hmm.
slate is clear, but definitely have to give a lot of consideration and thought, because like you said, once it is what it is. So I wouldn't just freely just feel comfortable like, oh, we about to turn up and it's over with. It definitely would definitely date you to find out more about you. But since I'm abstinent, I would definitely be open to knowing you as a person. I'm gonna say that. Look, everybody got quiet, but I mean that's that I'm living my
The
truth.
whole feed is quiet
I'm
today.
I'm, I'm just living I'm just living my truth. I
And
don't
that's
feel
what
like
we
you
talk
should.
about, living the truth.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I should count you out as a person for a mistake that may not even have been your fault. So because what if think about it? What if they didn't tell me? I would respect you more of your character of person that you told me than an issue that you did not tell me, and something happened, and then you end up hurting me even more. So
Mm-hmm.
it shows your character, especially if you told somebody up front in the second or third date. That's deep. But my
Okay.
cousin said, for me, respectfully, he said no.
He said respectfully no. Rose said amen. And there's some others on here saying OMG. Maybe they don't believe we open up like that. Angela Tyson, of course, says no. All right. Thank you for answering that.
You are more than welcome. Now, I mean, before you're being married, what is your take on that? Would you date someone that was openly honest with you about that situation, being that they could have not told you the truth?
Hell no. I would not date someone who has herpes. I would not date someone who has herpes, who has HIV. And again, it's not a matter of being, you know, cruel or mean.
Hmm.
But it's a matter of considering my life and what I want for my life. You
Right,
know,
right,
um, that because God forbid, what if that dating situation doesn't work out?
right.
What if, especially in this day and time, let's do it like, let's say in this day and time, what if that doesn't work out,
Hmm.
and now you don't, now it's just passing the whole ring of herpes around, and so no, absolutely not. And then what if even the marriage doesn't work out? So I think that when you start talking about things of that nature, for me it would be a big no.
It would
Yeah.
be a big no.
Yeah, and I know they say love is blind. I don't know why love would be blind, because for us to say that love is blind, that's really to say love is kind of stupid then.
Right. But what about the person that I said it was a success story? Not all are success stories, but she is happily married and they have grown children now. They made it through. They have grown children.
So then my question would be, what's the stats on that statistically? How many people would make it through something like that? Um, We blowing the feed already up. We got STD feed. Somebody says, what about HPV? You know, no. For
That
me,
that that's that's curable though. Yeah, that one's curable. HPV, yeah, that's curable.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
H.
yeah, I mean, but chlamydia is curable.
But you probably already dated people that had that, and nobody knew. Think about our
No,
community.
no.
Our community has, what is it like? Even Atlanta, I think they said over 50% have AIDS. So
Uh,
imagine what percentage have had the HP. Thank you, human papillomavirus virus. Um, Thank you, Ms. Bullock. Oh, don't play with her. She came with her whole report and does not give characteristic symptoms. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you, Wanda.
if it's HPV, HIV, if it's gonorrhea, if it's syphilis, if it's chlamydia, if it is any of those STDs, I don't want them. And if a person told me that they have had them, it would bring me great caution to say I probably don't want to date this person, of course. But thank God, of course, I'm happily married
Mary.
and in the covenant of marriage. But again, if I was not, and if I was on this single market, I would be like, no, absolutely not.
But what I'm saying is, think about the people that you have no clue that have had those things. Just like Wanda said, it's curable. So has no symptoms. What about the people that you just don't even know about?
So you would date somebody who has had chlamydia?
I'm saying I probably have and don't know. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. I probably have, and they went took the medicine and moved on about their business. How would you know? You will not know.
If they told me, if a person told me that.
Then you look at them and we begin to judge. We look at them, we judge, and we're like, oh, they've been around. But what if they wasn't around? Because that's the main thing. We feel like if you have this, the reason why we don't want to date you is because you've been around. But my thing is, okay, what if you never been around and it was your first? You know how some young girls say, oh, I got pregnant, it was my first time, or this happened, it was my first time. I would never want one of our young teens to be judged based on her being 30, 40 years old, and she knows better now.
She might, this is a podcast and not church service. She might just keep that a secret then. She might should just
She might
remain
as well just be
between
she might as
her
well be
and
a
God.
liar. I mean, we speaking the truth, so you're saying she might as well
Wait,
just
wait.
lie.
So is not telling something untruth?
Yeah, because if you're withholding some information with someone that you're dating, that's not being fully truthful. That definitely is lying and
Oh, well, then
deceiving.
that's a conversation for the comments. Is that being untruthful, or is that just withholding information?
Ladies, if a man was to withhold information from you, you are in a committed relationship. Do we consider that a lie? Yes, we do. But y'all go ahead and leave it in the comments and let me know.
So that's a lie.
It's a lie. You withhold information from me that you.
A lie is usually, Chantel, intentional, verbal, something that someone intentionally says out of their mouth.
A lie is when you withhold information and only tell me some of the
I thought
truth.
a lie is when you don't tell truth about information.
Yeah, but I'm talking about my truth. If you tell me a story, okay, let's say in a court of law, if you withhold information, you left some information out. You know you got the right answer. They find out that you didn't tell them, you're gonna be in trouble, right? So if they find
No,
out, they're
you
gonna
can
say,
do what they say, plead the fifth.
not when you say plead the fifth, but they say, let's say they came back and they seen so and so on your phone. They're gonna say, why didn't you tell us that you spoke to so and so and they had just died? They were just murdered, but you told us that you didn't talk to them. They're gonna say, now we don't
You
trust you.
told us that you didn't. Not that you did not
No,
tell
you
us. You
withhold.
told us
Even if
that you
even
did.
if you didn't tell us. I watch my little murder scenes. I sometimes, y'all, not all the time. But when they come and they say, we spoke to you, you withheld the information. They're gonna say, we talked to you about so and so being murdered at this time, and you withheld information. You
So
withheld
let's
information. You in
okay.
trouble. So now they don't
So let's
trust.
break. So let's break it down to a man who has because again we're dealing with relationships. If a man is dating a woman, or if he's in a relationship with a woman, or if he's
Mm-hmm.
dating a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes out to eat with another woman on Thursday, and then sees her on Friday, and she didn't ask what he did on Thursday, you said that he lied because he didn't tell her he went out to eat with another woman on Thursday.
Let's go deeper. Let's say the man is married. And
Mm-hmm.
just because I didn't ask, he still withheld pertinent information. I felt like because his actions, because we were out dating, I felt that he wasn't married. I assumed, which is wrong. They say don't make assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I'm still out with you, that's still withholding information that's important for me to know that you withheld that information. You knew I needed that information. So I think Billiquist just said that that takes away the trust aspect then. So we'll say I don't trust you anymore because you withheld
Right.
information.
So two different things, right?
Okay, I'll give
Trusting
you
a
that.
person and lying to a person is two different things.
Okay, I'll give you that. I still think that's you
Right.
withheld some information.
Uh-oh, Nicole don't
On
came
Nicole,
on.
we was waiting for
No,
Nicole.
Nicole don't came on last week. Nicole, you got us in trouble last week with upper management. I mean, you just went for the whole Atlanta. But withholding information is not lying. Withholding information is not building trust.
Okay.
Rose says, "Don't withhold anything that if I found out later will be a problem." See, so that's a different thing. I can come to a person, "Hey, why you didn't tell me this?" And they can have a multiplicity of reasons why.
Oh, here
That
the
prophetess
prophetess.
Nadine on said that withholding information is not a lie. She's just not being on my team because she's my wife. But I'm saying withholding and lying. I just feel like lying is intentional, Chantel. I feel like lying is if you ask that guy, "Hey, why you didn't call me yesterday?" And he'd be like, "I was asleep," or "I worked. I was hanging out with my homeboys." Then you find out 3 days later he was with another young lady. You're gonna be like, "Dude, you lied to me." Versus if you come to him 3 days later and say, "Didn't you tell? Well, you didn't tell me, but I just found out you was doing XYZ." He can truthfully say, "Well, you never asked me."
But it's still withholding information. It's still wrong. Okay, so it's not a lie, but it's. I'm gonna say I'm a voucher prophetess and say it's not a lie, but it's still wrong because your intentions was for me not to know. So that was wrong. I respect a man who can tell me the truth, even if it's gonna hurt my feelings. I respect you more as a person morally that you would tell me something that will hurt my feelings than not tell me at all. That's the worst thing you could do when somebody be like, "Oh, I was gonna tell you." No, you wasn't. You wasn't gonna say nothing until I found out about it. So I just feel like it's wrong. It's worse. I think it's worse. But okay, withholding information is an unintentional lie. Thank you, Rose. Rose got my back. Thank you.
Kim says, "Men and women think different." Thank you, Kim. Absolutely truth. Men and
Yes.
women go to
Well,
court and try it. Wanda says. Again, for those of you that are just coming on, Chantel, you want to just tell them one more time what the question was that I asked you at the beginning of the broadcast.
I forgot now.
Is that the truth? Is that the truth, or you just not want to tell
No.
them the
So
question?
the question, wait, Prophet said lying is defined as not telling the truth, but I understand what she's saying. Thank you, Prophetess. So the question was, would I date someone if he told me that he had an STD?
No. I want you to just stop saying STD. I want you to say which STD.
Herpes, which is uncurable. It's something that you'll have the rest of your life, basically. So would I date someone in that place? And so I told Arch that the fact that I'm abstinent, I would definitely still become their friend, still get to know them as a person, still allow God to lead and guide and direct me. I know we ain't at church, but I always got to throw that in there. Because I told him it was a situation that I knew personally that this person was the woman's husband, and she didn't reject him because of that. And they have a successful marriage 20, 30 years later. So that was my take. But everybody said no. My cousin Martell said he gonna respectfully say no for
Say
me.
no. Nicole is on, and again, you all. One of the reasons why we're doing this live is because soon we'll be doing it via YouTube, and so it won't be live in this type of manner, and we will be announcing the YouTube channel. But I'm just wondering who else in the comments would date a man who has herpes, or a woman who has herpes, for that fact of the matter. Nicole is quiet now.
No, I think Nicole said her steak to begin with. Nicole was like, no.
Oh, okay. She did throw in the no. Okay, because we looked to hear from her.
I think she
All
said
right.
no, if I'm not mistaken. I just laughed when I seen the name because I said, oh, she ready. She in the building.
All right. So that's my question for you.
Okay, that was your opener. Okay, got you. So in the powder room we were discussing, in the back house we were talking about, I think you were asking me, we were talking about trauma. And that leads to another question of, how would we date? Just like you said, would I date someone on this accord or this situation? And we were talking about, of course, you guys, if y'all were tuned in last week, we talked about singleness versus marriage. And so this week Arch was talking about the trauma. And so he asked me, how deep are we going with this trauma? Because we all got some trauma. So I told him, I said, not too much, not too much. We just breaking it in. But we were talking about sometimes we date based off of
Wait,
our
pause 1
trauma.
second.
Okay.
Nicole just answered. She says, I would
Okay.
not go forward in the relationship knowing he got
He got
herpes.
her.
All right.
So, based, and again, this question is a great question because it shows how I would say 90% of people probably already have and don't know it. Thank you, Kim. She said 90% of people probably already have and don't know it. And that's what I'm saying.
That
They
is
they
not
don't
good, Kim.
they don't
That is
know. The
not.
people don't know. That's why you might as well not date until you get married, because don't nobody know what's going on in this generation. But what I was saying is I feel like we date based on our trauma, but sometimes we grow out of that trauma.
Mm.
And so I think that was like an important place to understand where you are now. And that's why we talk about the healing process. And we're talking so much, you guys, giving y'all information and allowing y'all to dialogue with us about the singletude and being married, so that you don't marry based off of I want to get married, or you marry based off of your unhealed version of you. And then when you're healed, this person ain't even who you wanted to be with, because the things that you look for or accept is totally different of the healed version of you. So me, and I'm not saying I'm all the way in my journey where I need to be, but I definitely know that this healed version of me that's still a work in process would not date the same people that I would have dated 10, 15 years ago.
So, something that you said in the back room, and that's good. Nicole says they better go to the doctor on a regular basis. You should know your status. Absolutely, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose Greenwood says, Rose said, trauma bonding. Something that you said in the back room that was so good, in the powder room, dressing room, that I think I asked you, the question about individuals who hook up because of trauma, and then we start having that dialogue. But wouldn't it be fair then not to date when you are experiencing or living out loud to be healed from trauma? Because you said something in the back room. You says, well, what if I get healed before that person does? And then once I'm healed and I find myself, and you didn't exactly say these words, but I don't want that person no more. So it's not, I don't even think it's good to date when a person has when when they have been traumatized or walking that healing out, because I don't even know how long trauma, I guess for different people, trauma is a different situation, how long it takes for individuals to be healed. So my question to you, Chantel, wouldn't it be probably good not to date when you are experiencing heavy trauma?
Definitely. I've heard men, guy friends that I conversate with saying, my mom passed, and their mom passed, so we begin to date, because they and we were talking about, you and I were talking about empathy and sympathy, but they were able to empathize with what I was going through. They could relate with what I was going through. So I dated her because of that. I dated her because trauma. I was going through trauma, but when I came out of that trauma, she wasn't necessarily the woman that I would have stayed with or wanted to be with. And so therefore, like you said, there's a trauma bond, but when that one person grows out of it, they like, I wouldn't have dated that person if I wasn't in that kind of trauma. So a lot of people do it and don't realize they do it. So do I feel like you shouldn't date in that moment? I'm not going to necessarily say don't date in that moment. And it depends on the trauma. You know, sometimes people are dealing with past trauma from 20 years ago. And some people are willing to heal and not willing to heal. And some people are dealing with like a recent, quick, death in a family trauma. So it's so many different trauma levels. So I don't want to say don't date, but I am going to say don't lean on that person to save you. Don't, and even if we go to the place of grief, and I was giving someone an example of grief because grief is very, very hard, right? And so, but I told someone, I said, grief is almost like someone drowning. And so when I experienced, my son had a party and one of his friends was drowning, and my nephew had jumped in to try to help him. And what happened was the young man began to drown him because he was just pulling, he was pulling him, so he began to drown him. And so grief is kind of the same way. Sometimes when some of our people are going through grief, we're trying to pull them out, but yet they may be lashing out on us. Sometimes grief is something that they have to walk that walk with them and God to be able. You can support them and be present and be there for them, but sometimes grief will have you where you resist the people that's around you, or you may attack the people. And everybody responds differently. Definitely, everybody responds differently. But what I've learned about grief is some of the family members. Have you ever seen how the family members, like, they're at it? Like, I'm talking about everybody's mad. They're trying to find somebody to be mad at. So they're clashing at each other. They're arguing back and forth because they want someone to be able to, like, they want somebody to empathize with them, but yet and still they're pulling, they're pulling them down. It's almost like they're trying to drown one another as opposed to sympathizing and loving on them. So all of them are understanding and going through it, but sometimes you just need somebody to sympathize with you. You don't always need to have that person that has, that can relate with you, because just like Rose just said, now y'all bonded through trauma, or you fighting through trauma. So, it's this is a huge topic. There's so many ways to answer this question.
I want to give the definition of trauma, which is an emotional response to a stressful or dangerous event that can cause long-term effects on a person's physical, social, emotional, or spiritual well-being. It can be caused by a single event or a series of events and can happen at any age. Let me ask you a question, and a very serious question in our conversation again that we're just letting everybody eavesdrop on. My profession is, of course, I work with some of and being a pastor, a bishop. The church is a hospital. This isn't church, but the church is a hospital. When you start talking about trauma, you see people who have been through trauma, and you try to pull the best out of them as a result of the trauma that they have been through. Trauma comes in different stages and in different phases and different faces. And I think that different people who have not been healed from it, they begin to perpetuate that same trauma that they have experienced too as well. And so, how is it that we stop? How is it that we stop? Because at the end of the day, trauma is still yet wrapped up in behavior, because you act that trauma out. So how is it that an individual is healed, or, we talked about community, so much we talk about backstage that is so beneficial. How does a person begin that healing through the trauma that they have experienced?
I feel like they have to want the healing. I think it was Wanda stated, they can go get counseling, but in the society that we live in, there's so many people, unhealed people, that want someone to heal them, and they don't want to go to the work that it takes to heal. and so they have to acknowledge that they even need healing. Some people think they fine just the way they are. They think their behavior is okay just the way it is. So I definitely feel like, yeah, you have to want it and you have to acknowledge that you need help, because before you go to a counselor, I can say me and my mate, we're going to go see a counselor or a psychiatrist, but if he think ain't nothing wrong with him, then, it's not going to work.
I talk about you know me, and I know you, and we conversations we have. I talk about things that are current, and I always try to ask you your opinion on things that are current, and I look at those things that are current without looking at it through the microscope of the fluff,
Mm-hmm.
or the Hollywood stuff of what people see. Um, could we say, Chantel, that all that Diddy is alleged at doing, could that have come? I want you to divorce yourself from the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I mean, because I know that is the most. I know that is the most. Everybody head is on this 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I don't know. I will never understand that till Jesus comes back. I and I don't even know if Diddy was just saying, "Hey, just go buy me a whole bunch of baby." I don't know why, but in all seriousness, could that be what the other behavior? The other behavior that is a little. It could that be trauma? Could
Oh,
that be
definitely. It
with
is trauma. Not could it
with
be? It definitely is trauma. It's trauma. Um, Whatever happened to him, he's acting it out to other people. Definitely trauma. Does it make it right? Does it give him an excuse? No, but he's definitely acting out something of his learned behavior.
And that's what I was going to ask you.
Mm.
You jump right in there. Does trauma give excuse, or does trauma give reason? Because I always tell my wife that that's two different things. It almost seems as though the same vein, but it's almost two different things. Reason versus excuse. I'm not looking for the excuse, but then
Mhm.
too, I think we do have to look for the reason.
Right. Because we're people of wanting to understand.
Hmm.
So the reason gives you more understanding of maybe why. When somebody said, "Oh, well, he went through this," then everybody like, "Oh, okay." It doesn't give you an excuse, but it helps your mental approach of maybe understanding what that person went through, and maybe that's why their actions are like that. So
But
I would
but
say.
none of us would ever never understand the 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I
No.
don't think we'll
We,
understand any of it. We will not understand any of it, but definitely people want to understand.
but it definitely is some level of trauma that I
Oh,
think
definitely.
again, and we make light of that whole thing, but outside of the crazy parties and enjoy all that, somewhere, and that's what I'm talking about in ministry, somewhere in there has to be trauma
Hmm.
for whether you're abusing a woman, whether you're doing some of those things, all of those things. And I think you and I had to talk about this when we talked about the molestation,
Hmm.
because you did
Hmm.
you did your broadcast and you had talked about you being healed and about being molested. Somewhere people start wearing their trauma and start acting that stuff out if they're not
Definitely.
totally healed from it.
Oh, definitely. I feel like a lot of people, even now, and just because we've been talking about relationships, and I'll say
Mm-hmm.
even some of the men, I see so many men that, because to me, and again, this is my opinion, so don't get
Uh-oh.
at me, but and women too, not just the men, but I feel like I hear so many men nowadays talk bad towards women. It's almost like they can't even stand women, and I feel like some of it, not all of it, some of it is from some of their mama trauma. When you begin to get to the root, some of these men have mama trauma, and so now they're looking at every woman like you did it. I'm mad at you. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like your trauma it does not have to, but it can have a lot to do with your behavior and how you live your adult life. Definitely. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. What's the definition of mama trauma? Break that
Mama
down.
trauma. Ooh. I mean, it goes a long way. You know, and even for me, not saying I did anything wrong, but I even told, you know, my oldest son, sometimes mothers, we look at the children and look at their actions like, I don't know what's wrong with them. They just acting that way. And, you know, as he got older, I had to come to him. I said, hey, I just want to make sure I did okay with you. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure, and I want to apologize for the things that, because, you know, I was raising a kid as a kid. You know, I want to apologize for anything that I didn't know how to respond to you. I didn't know, you know, I was young too, trying to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
raise him. And so I took accountability for anything that could have hindered him or hurt him as well. You know, a mom working, you know, 15, 16 hours a day. He was in that part of my story, you know. So you know, some mothers don't want to take accountability for the trauma that they could have, you know, put on their kids. And so mothers dealing with it too. So I'm not just putting it on the men as well. I feel like mamas and daddies need to take accountability as well and say maybe it was something I did for why you're responding like this. And then the grown adult need to recognize it and get over it as well and be honest. Okay, yeah, mom, I didn't like how you did this when I was, you know, back in the day when I was da 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 da. You got what I'm saying? So, you know, we just have to all take accountability, I feel like, for the trauma that we can put on our children.
They're asking us questions. I don't want to be rude to
Now,
them.
go ahead.
They're asking. You know, I throw stuff out yours. So Nicole says, so you make sure hold Angela question.
Okay.
Nicole says, she talked about, you know, that what he did was attached to sexual demons, um, and the whole 1,000 bottles of baby oil is attached to sex demons. Is also called lubrication. Nicole's going to get us in trouble with upper management again. No, but even that, again, I feel like, again, those traumas are introduced to people and then they just act out what's introduced to them. Someone says on the feed, they says, do you feel, Angela says, do you feel his wealth played the role in his choices? Absolutely not, because I think broke people have sexual demons.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I think I think all money does is just what is it, Chantel? All money does is just magnify who a
Magnify, which,
person.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it just magnifies who a person is. And so, just to answer some of y'all, because they ain't letting the other questions go down this field. We don't moved on, and
Right.
we in this deep hold situation trying to get folk killed. They still on Diddy and these 1,000 bottles of baby oil. But again, I don't think it was about money, because again, people who don't have money act in these different types of
Mm-hmm.
behaviors, and for whatever reason they need to be healed from that trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um you like, Wanda says more demon, more traumas. um uh all right, I'm just looking at the comments as
Yeah.
they're rolling in. Again, I just think that when we talk again, and it doesn't have to be sexual. It could be violence. You know, it could be. I think trauma opens up different doors, and
Definitely.
we have said it before that, you know, you might not be responsible for the trauma that occurred in your life, but you're definitely responsible for the healing that is going to occur in your life.
Amen.
So, you know, so not to negate anything, in you know, anything that you have seen or anything that, but you are responsible for breaking that very thing. You're responsible for getting healing, counseling, therapy. Again, I think stand with what our conversation, I don't think that it's wise to enter into a relationship at the level of some traumas. I guess it would have to, it would depend upon, you know, what is the trauma that we're talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when we're saying it's not healthy to enter into certain types of intimate relationships if you're not healed from certain types of traumas. um you know, so go ahead.
No, no, I think that that's a great point. And you know, healing, because I see a lot of people that are unhealed and they're just going back and forth with their baggage. You know, they're wanting the other person to heal them. They're wanting the other person to fill that void. And so they're just bickering back and forth as opposed to healing from those situations. So definitely, I'm with you on going through the healing portion.
Nadine Owens, I think wealth magnifies the real character that has been locked up on the inside. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And again, I think, and we talk about it because one of the purposes of our podcast is, of course, to laugh, have fun, fellowship, bring people into a community that is healthy for them, but also to help bring healing and restoration
Mhm.
to people who needs that healing and that restoration. It's time for a commercial break. It is time for a commercial break because when we get back, we only have 15 minutes. So are we ready for that commercial, or do you have to do a live commercial?
I believe we'll do a live commercial.
In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2. All right. Well, we're back, and thank you all. Those announcements are going to get much, much better, and they're going to get much better. Y'all going to hear music, and y'all going to hear everything y'all need to hear with those announcements. And so we're back. We're talking about trauma today and being healed from undiagnosed trauma or diagnosed trauma. Looking at all the comments that are coming in. Biliquous trauma comes with mental behavior. Healing and deliverance is needed. Wanda E. Bullock says, please invite a professional of mental health to come on and discuss trauma. Wow. I think
Mhm.
that would be good. Absolutely, Wanda. Thank you. We certainly will. Kim Green says, would you go through the trauma with someone who was drug or alcohol? No. Wait, would we date someone um, that
Mhm.
has alcohol? Well, wait a minute now, Chantel. You
Cause
said
that's a continuous behavior. That it's
Well,
not
but you
something.
would date somebody that got herpes?
Cause that was an action. I didn't say I would.
Wait, wait a minute. Wait a
I didn't say
minute.
I would. I didn't say I would date them, but I just feel like the
You said
drugs.
it would be heavy consideration.
The drugs is a continuous process. Like it's continuous. Like the herpes could have been something of the past, on accident, a one time event, but continuous, like on drugs, they.
Continuously with herpes for the rest of their life?
But it was from a one time accident.
Okay.
Come the demons.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Then. All right. So, all right. No, I don't, I would not. Of course, I'm married, and if I was not, I don't know how that will work. I don't know if I could date a person that is, and if that was the question, I don't know if I could date a person that's on drugs or that um is an alcoholic.
No, it's continuous. So those actions, they laughing at you because I know they laughing at you in my response.
My wife says it has been said if you never heal from what you hurt, you will bleed on people who you didn't cut.
Didn't cut you. True. Very true. That's what's happening. That's kind of what I'm saying is happening in these relationships that everybody they keep on dating each other and mad. They be trying to get help You can't just put them in a box.
Rose says no drugs. Angela says yes to something.
No to drink.
Um, so yeah, I see the comments again. I think when we talk about dating, and I know we have 15 minutes left. I think when we talk about dating, we're 4601. When we talk about dating, I think it's best to date healthy.
That's good. I like that.
I do. I think it's best to date healthy. I think, and I know Nicole last week, Nicole was like, build a bear or build a man. She was like, hey, what if we build coming up?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that it's best to date healthy in all areas of that individual life is as healthy as possible. And again, it's all right in dating to have some boundaries of no's. No is
Right.
not a bad word.
Right. And I like what Miss Farley just said. Can you
Mm-hmm.
put that comment back up there? What examples are they showing their family, children, and friends? Goes way back into generations, the choices we make. And so to put that, what you said is dating healthy, but some people don't know what healthy looks like, So I'm going to say the statement, but I want you to expound on what is healthy, because my ex, and I'll say my ex-husband, I never knew what it felt like to be loved properly. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying who I dated never loved me, but I didn't know what it felt like for someone to cherish you or take concern or take care of you. I didn't know. So when I met him, I was like, oh wait, I don't know what this is. This is healthy. It feels good. But some women, we don't know. We our expectations are, he went and bought me some chicken and that was it. You know what I'm saying? He grabbed me something. So what is healthy? And to what Wanda was saying, because I want you to go back and expound on that. What is healthy? And then the importance of what she said about the standard that we're setting for our children. I can't do build a bear because my daughter is watching me, and I don't want her to watch me build a bear. I don't want her to watch the door coming in and open. So we have to definitely be mindful of what does it look like. And so for my door to stop, not be at a place where I'm, just dating frivolously, I knew that I needed to heal so that this time when I choose, and I think she put that, what decisions are we making? It's time to make sound, and we still, stuff happens. You may still make the wrong decision, but the decisions should be a little bit more sounder than they were 10 years ago. Let's say that. So just to put it back on you, can you tell me?
Yeah, I think healthy starts with what we started off with in the conversation. Healthiness starts with truth.
Mm,
And I know, and I see Nicole. What if you start dating healthy and relationship becomes unhealthy? Make sure you hold that one, and we'll get to that one. I think at the end of the day, again, I'm so where I am, Chantel, at 45. Of course, is not where I was at 35 and 25.
mm,
Now, if I had a daughter, I have spiritual daughters, but if I had a daughter, I would try to save her some headache and save her some mistakes and save her from going through certain things. But I understand some things are inevitable, and also understand that some things plays out with time. So I'm just saying at 45, if I was not married and if I was single, no, we're not building anybody. I'm not dating some, but in essence, healthiness looks like truth. And the reason I'm saying that is because yes, it is okay. If somebody wanted to date a man who just got out of jail for doing 20 years and he was truthful and, he said, hey, I just did this. And they say, well, you know what? I can work with that. I think that healthiness looks like truth, the foundation of truth being put out there in the formative stages of getting to know a person. And again, I accept the truth, but everything that comes after that is left up on me of what I will or what I won't. But I think, again, to answer that question, what does healthy dating look like? It looks like truth, because so many things are built upon deception, built upon half truths, built
mm,
upon not telling any of the truth. built
Mm-hmm.
upon withholding information.
Information.
So I think that when you just come straight out there and just say, hey, this is where it is, this is where I am, this is what I have, I think you give that person the option to be able to say yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
And the person has to be all right with the person saying yay or nay, you know, because everybody truth is not what's the word I'm looking for? Everybody truth is not always a match. I
Mm.
think that everybody truth is not always a match.
That's
So your truth may be you did spend 20 years incarcerated, and that's your truth. And thank you for sharing that truth. But where I'm going right now, where's that person minded after spending 20 years somewhere?
right.
Do they have the? So I just think being healthy, it starts with being true. Biblical says it's best to wait on God.
Amen, amen, amen. But some God times God gives us the wisdom and guidance to go out there and make wise decisions. Yeah, she said it's best to find wise counsel. So let me ask you this, Arch. So because I had a friend, I believe in dating, I believe in courtship. There's a distinctive difference. Oh, that's good. Courtship. Arch, you want to break that down? What's the
Courtship.
difference?
Well, courtship is the definition of uh, getting ready to sell off to engagement. It is courtship is something that is very serious now. And Nadine Owens, my wife, she knows that I'm very spiritual and very practical. So while I understand dating, I don't necessarily agree with it. I too believe in courtship. But again, I do understand dating. I got an 18-year-old son that don't had a couple girlfriends now. That
Right.
he don't dated a couple girlfriends and went out to eat, went out to the mall, hung out with them. Again, dating means to gather data. It means to, it means to engage in conversation. But courtship, I am from now. Here's the spiritual part. I'm from the place where if you have postured yourself with God and you said, hey, God, I'm ready, God's going to honor that and you're going to meet the right person.
Okay. Okay.
Now, that don't mean you go and get married to him tomorrow.
Right.
But it really depends on the relationship that one has with God when you're posturing themselves. One thing that my wife says when her previous her husband who passed away, when he had passed away, she had made up her mind she was not going to do any dating. She was going to wait on her husband. She was going to, of course, be abstinent. No other man was going to know her.
Mm-hmm.
And she postured herself like that. And so I think that if a person posture it, the dating is just what it is. For me, dating is a waste of time. But again, I understand it. When people, hey, who am I to tell people they can't go on a date on a nice fall night or on the nice summer night? I wouldn't tell people that. But again, I caution individuals because I know some women, you don't have like 25 dates this year. And you mean to tell me, and then one of them been the right guy? Well, maybe you just need to sit still and wait on, because those are also those women that are keep saying, I'm waiting to get married. I'm waiting to get married. But you dating 26 different dudes. How is it that you're going to know?
And it's so important what you said, and I definitely think from her perspective, once you heal, you're not willing to devalue yourself. And I'm not calling
Mm-hmm.
people devaluing themselves. I'm just saying you're
Wait,
you're
let's
you're
make one correction. Nicole Ferguson said, I never said build a bear. We said that. She said, that's not my vocabulary. Duly noted, Nicole. All right, go ahead.
what I was saying is once you begin to heal, because I think you said most people should heal first, and I definitely do. Once you begin to heal, you are more selective, and it makes it harder for you to date. Not saying it's right, but it definitely makes it hard. And the reason why is the longer you're not with anyone, you get more stuck in your own way. You kind of get selfish, but you're not willing to lose any of the finding that you found. Does that make sense? Like you're not willing to, when you find that place of peace and that place of calmness, you almost kind of get too selfish. So I don't want us to be selfish either. Like I don't want to date nobody. But I do like what she said about the courtship. where yes, I think that's they put the comment back up there. Courtship, marriage is typically the end, finding out what that person end goal is, before I just go out, and if the guy like, yeah, we just kicking it, that's it. No, then you ain't what
Because
I'm
you
looking.
you can take yourself to the movies. You can
I
take
can,
yourself to dinner,
you know yes.
and you can take yourself shopping. And I like what Rose said. Rose says, "I ain't raising nobody or building nobody." I like that. Rose said, "I ain't and I get it." And again, I think I just said that, if that's somebody truth in their 20s, so be it.
Mhm. Right,
I,
right.
I'm not in my 20s. So if I was single, absolutely not. I ain't raising nobody or or building anybody either, because again, because sometimes it just has to be balance in that.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I'm looking at these comments
And
that are. Go
I
ahead.
want to jump into back to what you said about healthy. And I know we're coming to a close, but we want to make sure they get this. But when you stated healthy and you said it's about telling your truth, right? But I had a friend that would tell her truth too early. Is that or tell too much? Tell
Oh,
too
that's
much.
good.
Now, do you ever think that, how some people have every issue and they're telling you all their issues? Do you think it could be too early to tell a person everything?
That is a good question, Chantel. And let me. Nicole says everybody got a pass. Absolutely. You might not have a criminal record, but you definitely got a record. I
And
think
prophetess,
that.
tell these young women. She said, "I never dated." Amen to that. Amen, honey. Show us.
Amen. Amen. Um I think that you might should pick up the main three when you're dating. First of all, you know what type listen, Chantel. Men know what type of woman that they're talking to. And some that mean you are going to get ready to get into that's going to blow everybody mind. We're going to talk about the high value man and the high valued woman. And that's going to be a great one, a great podcast right there. But I mean, most men knew who they're talking to. And I think that if a man is talking to a high valued woman, he probably need to tell her like those three important things. Maybe those three important things, maybe I got a criminal record,
Mm-hmm.
or I have the propensity to do XYZ, to rob banks or something. Whatever those three big majors are, you probably need to tell them those three big majors, or I'm probably doing X, Y, and Z a little bit here and there, or I smoke. I think that, and when you talk about what's too soon, I think, Chantel, the second to third date, gathering, outing, field trip, whatever you want to call it, I think you probably, because nowadays folk Google people.
Right. Right.
It don't even take "Thus saith the Lord." It just takes the keyboard and our phones to be able to find out who this person is. And so again, and I get people wanting to protect, their stuff as well. LaRose is smiling.
Mhm.
You don't want to tell people stuff too soon. But I think around that third date, Chantel,
It's
it
time.
need to be that come to Jesus meeting. Hey,
Okay.
before you find this out, I just want to let you know I've been sleeping on my mama couch for the last 3 years, and listen. Or I used all my money to bring you on this date. I don't have. Listen, I'm in between jobs. Because again, like we talked about that truth and laying that truth out there. That the more time the more you're starting, to put time under a thing. A person gonna come back, as we start in the beginning, and maybe they won't say, "Well, you lied to me," but they'll say, "Why you didn't tell me this?" And
Mm.
then if you say, "Well," and if they say, "Well, you didn't ask," you'll still feel some type of way. So I think that, again, maybe that third gathering, you
But
should tell them.
sometimes people have a whole Montessori, and you be like, wait a minute, why you tell me all that right now? I'm trying to perceive you as you
You
are.
are so giving. I cannot wait till the broadcast of Shoot Your Shot with Chantel. You are so forgiving and so giving. I need them
Listen,
to dump everything. I need them to
you
dump all the serious stuff.
li-
Listen, if that third date, we got to sit there. for 4 hours, just sit there and go ahead and dump it. And really, I think truth should be, truth should be, it should be given. It really should.
Okay, off the rip. Okay, you guys don't be in my inbox. Arch is leave my
Look at them.
assistants.
They
They
said
are
shoot your shot with
joking. They
Chantel.
are playing. Please do not be in my inbox. I am. If you want to date me, go find the Lord, and He will lead you to where I'm at in my Bible. Not in my inbox.
Someone says, "Do not tell a man your past."
Past relationship.
What you think about that?
About your past relationship, I feel like I don't like to hear a man. Now it depends on how you describe it, but she said your past relationship, and I feel like Gloria's on point about that. Don't dog me out. Don't dog your ex out to me, because I'm gonna start looking at you funny. Like
right.
Because we got to realize that you picked them. You picked your ex, so that tells me a lot about your character and your picking. So if you like, oh, that woman was this and that and that, no.
Even but she says, don't tell. Wait, she said, wait. Oh, you okay? But she's saying the woman, don't tell a man.
She said, yeah, do not tell a man about your past relationship. Y'all know y'all get funny. We talking about another man too much.
Right. Absolutely, agree. Yeah, agree. Yeah, agree. But I do think a person should tell something about when they were in their last relationship and why it didn't work.
You know what? And I will ask that question. I do ask that question. But you want to know my response that I'm listening for? Mm-hmm. What did you do wrong in the relationship? What did
please shoot your shot with Chantel? Make sure you tell her what you did wrong in the relationship. You're giving them all all right, go ahead.
Do not. But I'm just saying, a lot of people are like, oh, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. What did you do? Because we all play a part. Myself too. I'm learning. I wasn't the best in every single relationship. I was good, but I can't say that I didn't have flaws. So we all have them.
I was once dating a guy, and 2 weeks later, I seen him on the news for wow. I said that, Nicole. I said that if he has the propensity to rob banks or still selling a little drugs, he might need to tell you that in the beginning or at date number 3. He might need to say, hey, I don't know where this is gonna go with you and I, but I still got a little proclivities or propensity to to jack folk up or something like that.
Listen, you guys, we're gonna have guest speakers. We definitely gonna have Nicole on here to talk about her her love and relationship. I would love to hear that story, Nicole. And I want to know how the date actually went before you heard about the news and the robbery. Okay.
Last thing I asked, and we go, is it okay? And I know this was a conversation some time ago on Facebook, but let me go to the latter half of that. Is it okay for the woman to pay for the meal on the second date?
On the now you put a date on it, the second date. I definitely think it's okay. I mean, if you yeah, I definitely think it's okay. I can't say that it's not okay. I think it's okay. Women, you guys let me know. Like Art said, I'm such a giver, so I mean that's not a big deal to me, to be honest. I definitely feel like it's okay, and I definitely feel like you want a man to feel like, hey, I'm present. And now, some women will offer it, and the man may say no, but it might make them feel good, like, oh, at least she offered, or at least she tried, So.
Angela said no way. Oh Lord.
Angie old school now. Angie old school. So you definitely know she gonna be like, no way. Look, old school. I told you.
They're saying what? Well, so this is what a man once told me, and he, man's man, police officer, and married, kids, everything. I never forget this, Chantel. 18 years old. He says, Devin, you don't have to let the woman do it. But he says he says you 18 now. He says, but when you get older, he says, if a woman does not reach for the bill on the second or third date, she's not a classy woman. Ooh. He says you don't have to let her pay for it. He
Right.
says, but if on the second, I never forget that. He says, if on the second date, I was going to Red Lobster, and he was asking what am I doing tonight? I was so excited to be going out with this particular young lady. Again, Prophetess Nadine, if you're still on, this is when I was 18 years old, many years ago. I was so excited about going out with this young lady, and he says, let me tell you about her. If she doesn't reach for the bill on the second to the third date, she's not a woman of class. And that stayed with me. And every woman that I dealt with that was of class, or what I thought was high value woman, she always would try to insist on doing that.
Yeah, I definitely think
But
that's not a big deal for them. Yeah, that's definitely not a big deal.
Nicole says it's definitely not a big deal. It's just something to eat. God said, feed my sheep. All right, I like that, Nicole. I guess some of the old school folk, they not having it. They don't, they not gonna go with it.
Nicole is a comedian today, child. She said, God said, feed my sheep. Right. So we can see the age difference. So does that have to do with age? Because the old school women like, no way, I don't think so. They don't play that. And the middle age, up is like, it's not a big deal.
No, I don't think it, and I don't think, and again, he doesn't have to take her up on the offer, but it just says something, it just says something about her. Okay. About her, about her level class. Rose says it's definitely not a big deal. Maybe when he allows me to pay, it's a big deal. So it's not a big deal, but maybe when he does allow her to pay, it will become a big deal. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, that's our time until next week, Tuesday. If you all have been enjoying us, let us know that you've been enjoying us. What is, Chantel, and this is what we need everybody to do on today. Chantel, what's our YouTube channel? Because we need everybody to go and like the YouTube channel.
It's under our logo, Kingdom Media, Global Media. So if you guys can look on there, I'll post the YouTube as we hang up. I'll definitely hang up like we're on the phone. That's my old school right there. I'll post it.
I'm like, hang up. I'm like,
I'm showing my age, right? I'm showing my age. I will post it on the feed, the YouTube link. Please go like, follow, share, all that great stuff. I will
subscribe. We need you to subscribe. Now you on Facebook. We need
subscribe. All this technology.
Yeah, I need Shannon English, Nicole Billiquist. We need everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because again, it's going to come a time where we're not going to be live here on Facebook. Everything's going to be on YouTube. And so we need everybody, and we need this week, we need to get about 50 individuals who was going ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And shame on me, I don't remember what the YouTube channel. She's gonna post the YouTube channel.
I will post the YouTube channel. And y'all, if you got any suggestions, go ahead and comment, share. If you have something that you would like us to discuss or talk about, let us know. We're coming as a community, so we're doing this together. Y'all drop it in the feed. Let us know. Send us an inbox of a topic that you would like us to discuss. You could send us a clip. You may see something kind of controversial that you see. Send us a clip, and we'll chat and share about it and post it and kind of go from there. It says you're looking for a sugar mommy. Who looking for a sugar mommy?
I think the men that let the bill let them pay for the bill is looking for a sugar mama. Wow. Okay. All right. All right. This has been a great conversation today, Chantel. Thank you so much. And we look forward to everything that is going to come out of these conversations and how people are going to be touched. And we look forward to having one of the biggest podcasting platforms hosted on Kingdom Global Media. And so again, we are excited. Rose Greenwood says, just subscribe. Thank you, Rose. Others of you, go ahead and do it. We need to get 50 subscribers this week, and we are looking forward to getting that. All right, that's all I got, Chantel.
That's all I got, and we will see you guys on next week. Next week will be our last time on live Facebook. You'll follow us and find us on our YouTube channel. Thank y'all so much for being present, giving us an hour of your time.
Deuces.